Sue, did you officially join?
Yes.
That is so awesome. I'm so excited.
I
You're
thought maybe that's why you
you're at the big kids table now.
Now you get the big bucks.
Good evening. I'm going to call to order tonight's Concord Township Zoning Commission meeting for Tuesday, July 10th, 2018. Just for those who may be tuning in online or through television, we are starting the meeting a little bit late this evening due to the fact that we had a special zoning meeting prior to this. This is not televised. I also do want to take a minute to make an announcement as far as the agenda for this evening. We've got several items on the agenda. I became aware late yesterday that there was an email circulating around the township that there will be a vote tonight regarding a rezone, and that is an inaccurate statement. We have a site plan review, we have a tabled work session, we have approval of minutes and correspondence report. We do have an audience portion scheduled this evening, but there is no vote taking place to rezone any property. There is no public hearing, and there is no planned, other than the audience participation portion, there is no planned public hearing this evening. So just if you're here for that purpose, I want to make it clear that that's not an agenda item this evening. Our first item tonight is a site plan review application number 35 for Mr. Hugh Thomas, PE of BL Companies, is requesting a plan approval for proposed site plan improvements for the property located at 8059 Crowell Road. Is the applicant here this evening or a representative?
Yep.
Would you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Hugh Thomas at BL Companies, 3755 Butler Oaks Drive in the City of Green.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, could you just take us through your application? I don't have a plan here.
Sure, this is the landscaping plan, and we received a staff report which recommended additional plantings.
Excuse me, it's upside down.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, it is.
There we go. Ah, that's better.
I do have, if you want 11 by 17s, I can hand those to you. I also have 2 copies of this, if you have a copy closer to look at.
Actually, if you have
Is
those
it-
copies, yeah,
Is it smaller than this? Because if it is, I'm interested.
that would be helpful.
Look at that. There we go. Now we're talking. That's excellent. Beautiful.
So overall, the project consists of improving toward the rear of the building a truck dock to service full-size WB67 tractor trailers safely and provide for movements by improving the driveway, the drive apron, and safely to navigate them to the shared driveway easement to the north, to the Discount Drug Mart driveway. We are providing 52 parking spaces. They don't require that many right now or anticipate, but we're providing that for future expansion and so that the stormwater basin and so forth accounts for any future expansion they may have. We applied for a couple of variances, all to do with landscaping and screening, primarily focused on safety because there's a lot of things going on in that small area behind the building, trucks, there's scrap metal dumpsters that are about 8 feet tall, and there's forklifts and so forth. And to make up for that, we want to provide additional screening. And in the staff report, there were several recommendations to how we improve upon our landscaping plan, and we have incorporated into this plan that you see here. And that's basically the scope of the project.
So this is a landscaping proposal because of the new tenant, or what's happening with the property?
New tenant, they moved in, they have a light manufacturing facility, that's why they wanted to update and improve the facility. New sanitary connection is also part of the improvements, and that's what kind of prompted all the improved landscaping.
Questions from the board? indicated that that you responded to the recommendations in the staff report.
Yes.
Okay. And so given that, Heather, does that change the recommendation?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I had an opportunity to review this plan briefly before our meeting this evening, and I do concur with this, with the applicant here that he has made the changes that we were requesting on providing some additional landscaping to screen some of the parking on the south side near the southern driveway. They established a couple of different planting areas near the parking spots. Also indicated a couple more shrubs to go up against the base of the building in front of it, and then also an additional spruce tree to screen some of the parking lots on the north side. So as far as I'm concerned, they have met what initially staff was going to recommend as conditions, so I would probably amend my staff recommendation to be to recommend approval on this project this evening.
I have a question. If I recall in something I read about this, there was a comment with respect to, there's a north to south drive, and then there's kind of one indicated in the drawing, like at the middle. When I drove by the property this evening, there's actually not a drive there, but there's like a door or some kind of an access in the front of the building. What is the plan for that?
Nothing right now.
Okay.
It's there,
Okay.
and I don't anticipate, don't really have any plan for that in the immediate future.
Okay. I just had mentioned it, just said that it was there, but then I drove by, didn't see anything. It's all grass now, correct?
Right.
There's no.
Yeah, we didn't want to disturb it.
Gotcha.
Just let it go how it is.
So you'll share the driveway with Drug Mart? Like right now, there's just one entrance?
Yeah. Up here, there's already a concrete apron. So, and there's a shared driveway easement here. So that when trucks circulate, they'll come up back in and pull out that shared driveway easement.
It's empty right now, right? I mean, there's nothing in there? Or what's in there now?
Building.
The building?
Oh, the building, yeah.
Okay.
And they do have
I mean,
traffic.
I drove by there, I just was like, I didn't know what, there's no signage or anything.
No, the building is there, and they will put up a new sign. And they do have truck traffic delivering product and so forth, but they're not using that shared driveway easement right now. They're maneuvering and coming back out the Southern Drive right now.
Mr. McIntosh, if I could just make a couple of comments maybe to clarify for Sue. When Discount Drug Mart came in and got their project approved by the township and the county, part of one of the stipulations on the county approving their driveway locations was them coming to an agreement with this adjacent property owner, which was a different owner at the time, on doing this shared driveway, and was going to force Mr. Blossom to remove that most northern drive. So they are now working towards that ultimate goal by removing that northern drive and getting their trucks to go out.
Okay.
What's been agreed upon by the county.
So the only issues we ever had were just landscaping since the last time.
Right, those were from our perspective, right, just a
Right.
couple landscaping issues that are in compliance now.
Okay.
This revised plan.
Any other questions for Mr. Thomas? Okay, thank you. Okay, do I have a motion to recommend approval?
Need a motion to approve.
A motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I second.
Heather, can you call the roll, please?
Sure. Mr. Schindler?
Yes.
Mr. Lingenfelter?
Yes?
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Malsick?
Yes.
And Mr. McIntosh?
Yes.
Your application's been approved.
And the next item on our agenda is the tabled work session for the Town Hall neighborhood and Town Hall common districts. districts, excuse me. Tabled, so moving on to the next agenda item is the approval of the minutes from the June 5th, 2018 meeting. I have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the June 5th, 2018 minutes as written.
And a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain because I wasn't here.
And any opposed? None. Motion carries. The minutes are approved. Next order of business is the correspondence report from zoning commission members. Frank?
None for me, Mr. Chairman.
Andy?
Nope.
Sue?
Nothing?
Nothing.
And Rich. I also had no correspondence. At this point, we're at the audience participation part of the evening, so I would welcome up anybody from the audience who wishes to speak or ask commission members any questions.
They have some of these that do it automatically. Vanessa Pesic, 11705 Kelly Court, Concord. One question that I had was, when somebody is making a presentation and they're using a board, the audience members can't see it, nor can anyone on the TV see it. So I was wondering if with current, state of technology, we could either put it on, utilizing some computer or overhead or, something like that so that everybody could be able to see and so forth. That would be really helpful, for everybody. So I request that you look into that. I'd appreciate that. And the other thing is that regarding your the tabled town hall neighborhood, I do encourage you to look at it in a holistic way and look at it in combination with the Town Hall Commons and maybe even the BX that are north and south of that, and look at it as an area, as sort of like a corridor study, so that you're looking at it really with all eyes. There was a lot of discussion in the March minutes where you were discussing this before it was tabled, where you looked at it from the developer's point of view. The developer we haven't had any interest from developers. What have the developers wanted in terms of density? And that is surely an important component because they are doing the developing. But there are also other important viewpoints and things that we all should be considering when we look at rezoning property, be it a small 8 acres or 100 acres. And so I would encourage you to look at all of the kinds of things that you would when you would rezone property, and that would include citizen input. So trying to get citizen input as you're working through the work sessions and work plans, as opposed to waiting until you're all done and you've thought through things and everything's all done, and then you have a public hearing on it, because at that point it's really late in the game for people to make points and for them to be incorporated into anything that you do. I know that I work a lot with ADA and the county issues and accessibility, and we know that when we talk to architects ahead of time, we then have the input in place. If you wait until after their whole plan is done and all the lines are drawn, and then you try and add your input, it's really late and it's really difficult to make the changes. So I think similarly with a corridor study, a comprehensive plan, or any kind of time that you're thinking comprehensively about these kinds of issues. So I would appreciate it. That's it. Thank you.
Is there anybody else from the audience that would like to participate in our meeting this evening?
Thank you. Yes, I'm Mark Falcone, live at 10185 Page Drive. I oppose any changes to the town hall neighborhood that would allow zoning into that neighborhood. Primary concern is the commercial value of that property. As we've seen today, that some discussions about Discount Drug Mart and the business next door, needing some landscape, some buffer zones. I think this commercial property is for viability of Concord Township low taxes, or I should say fair taxes to all, both commercial and residential. A couple questions I have for the zoning commission. Does commercial light industry generate more income for the township than residential? I'd like to hear, result on that, because a lot of it's been hearsay that residential is more of a deficit to the township, but I'd like to hear your comment on that. How much commercial light industry property is needed for Concord to remain financially solvent, particularly in the long term? And how does high-density residential affect the viability of the township, the whole township? I think we need to look for in the future, and I think commercial property is very valuable as we've seen these insurgents of businesses coming to Concord. It helps with the tax base for everybody in Concord. Thank you.
My name is Paul Dunn. I live at 7074 Brightwood Drive, and I'd like to make a couple of comments on the section number 2, the work session, the Town Hall neighborhood and Town Hall Commons. It's been tabled. Obviously, when you table something, that means that you can decide to bring it up whenever you feel like bringing it up, and I think that the residents have a expectation that we would know ahead of time what's going to be on your schedule for a particular meeting, so that if the residents have some degree of interest in that particular item, they would know that that would be a meeting they should attend. And you folks know darn well that the last time that you had your meeting, this room was filled with people basically opposed to that particular item.
Which meeting?
It was last month. It was the one that the room was filled. Okay. That's my comment. Please let the residents know what's going to be on the agenda.
Just for clarification, the agenda is on the township website. Every meeting is. This agenda's been published. This is the second month or third month this has been a tabled issue. Is that correct? Second month at least.
There are a couple.
There's been a few. We haven't. So, and a work session is a work session. It's when we sort of just discuss amongst ourselves, and it's general conversation. It's not necessarily we're creating anything binding that ever happens. It's conversation. We don't vote, and nothing happens in a work session, and other than to move forward and then create a public. At what point then there's hearings and there's conversations before any text amendments or anything take place. So a work session is work. It's been on this particular issue's been tabled for several months, but we also did have open work sessions for 2 to 3 months at some point earlier this year, just so you're aware. So I encourage you to, and I appreciate that some people here this evening have feedback and input. We do have ongoing agendas are posted. We do have running audience participation for instance like this to get feedback. And we've had a couple rezone meetings and some work sessions where we haven't had any audience participation. So feedback and so forth that's come forth this evening is definitely welcome. It's appreciated, and we definitely encourage feedback. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
We're sneaky.
Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to come forth and speak or share some thoughts with the zoning board? Okay, we're moving on through the agenda. The next meeting for the zoning commission is August 7th, 2018. With no further business this evening,